Okay, so get this. Today we're diving into two things that you wouldn't think go together at all. Like, at all.
Yeah.
We're talking about a country, Argentina, that's battling insane inflation, like worse than we've seen. And then there's this whole AI thing, this model called O1. And
Right.
people are saying it's so smart, it's got everyone freaking out a little.
Yeah.
So we've got a bunch of articles you guys sent in on both these things, even a video about, get this, an Argentinian Bitcoin, like, guru, I guess?
Uh-huh.
It's wild. So the question is there some connection between Argentina's money problems and this super smart AI? Let's dig in.
What we've got here are two huge forces of change,
Oh.
like people trying to keep their heads above water, industries trying to figure out if AI is going to steal their jobs. Everyone's just trying to adapt.
Totally. It's like two sides of the same coin, right? But first, let's talk about Argentina. Their inflation is bonkers. Like, one article said back in 2001, one Argentinian peso was worth a whole US dollar. Now, you need over 12,230 pesos to get just $1. Can you even imagine?
It's like your money's constantly shrinking, disappearing right in front of you. Think about it. Your salary losing like a third of its buying power every single week.
Every week.
Yeah. That's what a lot of people in Argentina are dealing with. So it's no surprise they're looking for something, anything else. And for some people, that's Bitcoin.
And that's where this video you sent comes in, right? About this Argentinian guy, an engineer, who saw this whole mess coming and went all in on Bitcoin.
Wow.
He even started one of the first YouTube channels about it in Spanish way back in the day.
No kidding.
The guy's practically a Bitcoin celebrity down there.
I bet. It's incredible how his story just puts a face on this whole crisis.
Right.
It's not some Wall Street guy. It's just a regular person who watched their savings vanish.
Ugh, terrifying.
And for him, Bitcoin was the answer.
He even said people are selling their houses to buy Bitcoin. That's wild. I mean, you always hear real estate is the safest investment.
It tells you everything you need to know about how desperate people are, but also how much hope they're putting into Bitcoin. Just imagine a currency that no government or bank can touch. That's Bitcoin. It's decentralized, limited to 21 million coins ever.
So in a country like Argentina, where the economy's a roller coaster, I can see why it's appealing.
Definitely. It's like this beacon of control.
But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Those articles also mention some serious roadblocks for Bitcoin. It's not all sunshine and roses.
Oh, absolutely not. There are definitely challenges. It's like, have you ever heard of psychological barriers?
Like mental blocks.
Exactly. It's hard to change habits, especially when it comes to money, right?
Mm-hmm.
People know the US dollar, they trust it, even if it's not always perfect.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And that's a powerful thing, especially for, let's say, older generations.
Mm-hmm.
This whole digital currency thing, it can be a tough sell.
I get that for sure. I mean, change is scary, especially when you're talking about your life savings. And honestly, even after reading all those articles you sent, this whole Bitcoin thing, the tech stuff, like wallets and blockchain, I'm still a little lost.
Yeah, it can feel like you need to be a computer whiz just to dip your toes in.
Right.
The articles definitely made it clear that it's a hurdle, the whole user-friendliness thing, and education too.
Big time.
If you're worried about putting food on the table, learning about Bitcoin is probably not your top priority.
It's like saying, hey, learn a new language so you can order coffee.
Exactly.
Speaking of which, one article mentioned stablecoins, those crypto things pegged to the US dollar. They said it's like training wheels for digital currency.
It's an interesting concept, right? Think of it like this. You get the perks of cryptocurrency, fast transactions, low fees, all that.
Okay.
But without the wild swings in value that make Bitcoin such a gamble.
That makes sense.
So someone in Argentina could get paid in stablecoins, pay their bills with them, and not worry about their money disappearing overnight. Right, like a bridge between the money we know and the whole crypto world.
Yeah.
So zooming out for a sec, what does all this Bitcoin stuff tell us about the future of money? Like, is Argentina a sneak peek of what could happen everywhere?
That's the million-dollar question, right? What happens when people lose faith in their currency? When governments lose control of the money supply?
Right.
Argentina's forcing us to rethink our relationship with money, with value itself.
Especially with everything so uncertain in the world right now. One thing that really stuck with me from the articles was this whole financial sovereignty idea, like not having to rely on banks or governments to handle your money.
Right. It's powerful.
Total empowerment. It's like for centuries, financial institutions have been in control, right?
Yeah.
They decide who gets access to money, who gets credit, Bitcoin, this whole cryptocurrency movement. It challenges all that. It's like an alternative path, a way to take control of your own financial future.
It's like the Wild West out there, but with, like, coders instead of cowboys.
I like that. But you've touched on something important. The articles didn't really get into the downsides. What happens when the internet's down?
Oh, that's true.
Or in places like Argentina where internet access isn't always great? Is Bitcoin really a long-term fix? It makes you think.
It does. We get so caught up in the shiny new tech, we forget it's not always perfect. Okay, get ready for a sharp turn because we're jumping from cryptocurrency to artificial intelligence. Talk about a headspin.
As different as they seem, both these stories are about change, fast, unpredictable change, and how we adapt.
And speaking of changing the game, let's talk OpenAI's O1 model. This article called it a game changer, said it can actually reason like a person, and that it's outperforming like PhDs in physics and stuff. Is that even real?
The results are pretty mind-blowing, I'll admit. What sets O1 apart is it's not just processing info like older models, it's actually thinking things through. Like imagine it's solving a physics problem, right?
Okay. All
It
right.
doesn't just spit out the answer, it shows its work, breaks down each step, just like a human expert would.
Wait, so it's like actually dot thinking. I know that's probably not the right word.
But it's easy to jump to that conclusion, right? The sentient AI.
Right.
But as amazing as O1 is, it's still a tool. A very, very powerful tool, but a tool nonetheless.
So it's not about to become like self-aware and take over the world.
The article was clear that O1 isn't artificial general intelligence.
Okay, good to know.
It doesn't have that spark of consciousness,
No.
that awareness that would make it a whole new type of intelligence.
Okay, that's a relief. But still, it feels like we're on the edge of something huge.
We are. Imagine O1 with access to all the information on the internet. Think about it.
Whoa.
The sheer amount of data, the speed, it could solve anything. Diseases, climate change.
Wow.
It's incredible.
It's a little scary too, right? What if it gets into the wrong hands? Or what about the ethics of making something potentially smarter than us?
You've hit on some key questions there. What happens when machines are better than us at so many things? These are questions we can't ignore.
It really makes you think, like we're talking about AI that could potentially solve these huge problems, but then there's this whole other side, the risks, the ethical stuff. It's exciting, but kind of creepy too.
For sure. And it's not even just about the tech itself. It's about how we use it, right? Both these stories, Bitcoin in Argentina, OpenAI's O1, they both kind of show this push and pull between like innovating and being responsible.
Totally. It's like both these stories are saying, hey, the future's coming, ready or not. And it's up to us to figure out how to deal with it. But okay, before we go too far down that road, let's bring it back to today's deep dive. We've covered a lot of ground, from people struggling with crazy inflation in Argentina to AI that's practically a genius. It feels like there's a connection here, right? What do you think?
You're right on the money. As different as they seem, both these stories are about change, adapting, the unpredictable way things move forward.
Right.
In Argentina, you've got people embracing this digital currency, something that would have sounded crazy a few decades ago. And with O1, we're seeing machines that might actually be better than us at certain things. It's wild.
So are you saying we could see AI development speed up as the world faces bigger and bigger problems? Climate change, political stuff, not enough resources.
It's definitely something to think about. If a tough economy can spark innovation, like with Bitcoin in Argentina, then it makes sense that global problems could do the same for AI.
It's like a tech arms race, but instead of weapons, we're building things that could actually help us.
Exactly. And that's why it's so important to talk about this stuff. The future isn't set in stone. It's something we create with the choices we make.
This has been an amazing deep dive. To everyone listening, we've thrown a lot at you today. From people in Argentina dealing with insane inflation to AI that can think like a human expert. What stood out to you? What connections are you making? Keep those brains buzzing because the future is happening now and you're a part of it. Until next time, happy diving.